We're here outside the Gettysburg Rec Park, checking out a mural done by Ophelia Chambliss. Jean Green will be giving us a little more information. She's a local historian, and she's going to tell us about some of the people that lived here. There is an overlooked history in Gettysburg, that of the black community, which existed here prior to the Civil War.
This area, which sits in the southwest end of Gettysburg, it does have a very rich history. Mainly the blacks lived in the southwest end of town. And this is because it was off the beaten path. During the battle, there would be 2,400 people living in this town. Now, out of that, there would be 185 blacks living here in Gettysburg.
Pennsylvania was a free state. Maryland was a slave state. Due to Gettysburg's close proximity to the Mason-Dixon line, blacks fled here seeking refuge.
The majority of the people were slaves. Some were slaves when they came here, some were free. And of course, the majority of them came from the Maryland area. And later on, after the war, they would come from the Virginia area. And they would all migrate here.
They found work on farms or as cooks and servants in people's homes. Once they settled, they would send for family members.
So it was a quiet little town. Majority of them were day workers, but there were some business owners. And there was Owen Robinson, and he owned an oyster salon and ice cream also. He would make ice cream in the summer and sell oysters in the winter. Jack Hopkins, or John Hopkins. Now, he wasn't so much as a businessman, but he was a little famous in this town. He was the janitor for Pennsylvania College, as it was called at that time, which would later become Gettysburg College. He would have to tend to making sure that the fireplaces, stayed lit, and, his other responsibilities. Whenever he died, he was so well liked and so well respected that the whole faculty from Pennsylvania College, as well as the students, turned out for his funeral, in which that was a big deal.
That's incredible.
Yes, and for a person of color
right,
in that time.
Prior to and during the Civil War, blacks were at risk of being captured and sent south into slavery. During the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863, many blacks fled the town or went into hiding with the help of sympathetic white residents.
Sally Salome Myers, which lived on East High Street, she would record in her diaries that she could hear the chatter of the Negroes, scurrying around, the rebels are coming. Tilly Pierce, she would also write in her diary that she saw them going up Baltimore Street.
Right.
And the mothers yelling to the children, hurry up, and whatever, with bundles on their backs, or, just pulling whatever they could,
Jean tells us about the importance of religion in the black community. As was the custom of the time, blacks were allowed to attend white churches, but could not participate in services.
They were allowed to come. They had to sit in the gallery. We would call the gallery the balcony these days. They couldn't take communion. They couldn't do any of that. And that wasn't uncommon for any blacks attending a white church.
Jean tells us about 40 black people decided to start their own congregation so that they could fully participate in worship. Eventually, there were 3 black congregations in Gettysburg.
St. Paul AME Zion Church is the oldest black congregation. Okay, now the present building will be 100 years old next year, May of 2017. These black people were very hard workers. They had very little. It's not like they could go downtown and socialize or whatever. They were in these 3 little streets. The church was very important, and as in the earlier times for any blacks, that's where they could go and voice their opinion, be around the people that they were familiar with, and they would have their picnics. I have to admire them for standing up and saying, we want more than this. We just don't want to come to church and just say we love God that much, that we want our own place to worship.
Jean has happy memories of growing up in the neighborhood in the 1950s and 60s.
Later on, this community here would be a black and white community. And that's what I liked about it. Growing up here in this area, no foolishness. There was never, we all grew up together as friends and whatever. And it wasn't like, you're black, and I can't play with you.
The community is still vibrant and diverse today. Black and white families, both longtime residents and transplants, are now joined by immigrant families from Mexico.